we're working on some electrical on the Honda Pioneer 500. So there's a couple things we want to do here. So A1, we're on the road a lot with the farm, and as you just heard traffic's pretty consistent. So we're going to mount some directional lights up front. So we're going to put flashers in. We're going to put a horn on it. And while we're in here, we're going to also clean up and move, because the factory mounted, or whoever mounted this winch that came on the machine, is right in the way of putting in a new glove box. So the glove box is going to come in as well. So we need to move that. We're going to set up the dash with some rocker switches, and I'll get you guys to follow along with that. And we're going to tie into, for power for the switches, into the accessory plug here that's underneath. There's a red cover on it on the factory. This little red cover comes right off, and then there's a harness that plugs in that Honda sells. And there be the harness number. Accessory sub-harness. You having fun down there? My sidekick's busy making cardboard houses with the flashlight. Yeah? What's wrong with your house?
I don't know. Something, I don't know.
What's wrong with it? You're going to have to figure it out, right? So you can't fix it until you know what's wrong with it, right? So this accessory harness plugs right in, and it gives you pigtails with a ground, aka a complete circuit. So we have a ground, and then we have the power wire, and there's in 7 little pairs. One's for a horn and different things. The biggest thing is they supposedly all go to the same fuse, so it doesn't matter as long as the gauge of the wire is all the same size and will fit the circuit. And I'm actually not going to probably directly power too many things. I'm actually going to run like some LED lights off from a relay straight off the battery. So all this is going to do is turn the relay on and power the lights on the dash switches. So let's see how well this fits, and we'll see about planning out the dash outlay. Everything's taped off. This is the Honda actual factory harness. Any of them. Nice and sealed connection. And there is everything we need to power all the accessories up top. So that's going to be pretty sweet. Now I just got to figure out my dash outlay. I think I got it kind of figured out, but I'll show you guys what I'm looking at doing. So there's not a ton of extra real estate on this factory dash. A lot of it's eaten up with different gauges and things. But up here on the dash, up top, there's actually enough of a spot. I am hoping I can put my directional rocker switch. So it's pretty simple, cheapest way I can find to add. There's not... Yeah, good night, Roger. There's no good room for doing a blinker style switch here. You'd have to put it straight up. And yeah, I don't drive my hands up there. I drive my hands down here, and I'm usually shifting. The last thing I want to do is hit a blinker by accident when I'm not thinking and break it off. So the simplest thing I think is going to work, and it's clear on the back side of this. There's just a little bit of a mount up top, a little bit below. I think there's enough room if I come right beside it there. Let's take a better look real quick before we cut into things. I might have to mount it horizontally to get it to fit in there. They do sell a switch with the arrows going sideways, so it would work great in a horizontal position. But they think they're pretty proud of it. It's like $30 for the switch. This one's like $8. So albeit it's not exactly what I'd like to do. So I think that's going to be our turn signal setup. I don't want to put it over here because then I'm going to have to reach all the way across. I wanted something really convenient to hit. And that's pretty nice. Well, I guess we know how it's going to fit in there. We have a pick to scratch our lines with. Roughly. Nice. Alright, let me get the Dremel set up. I think we'll get that cut out. Let's see how well this works out. We are going to take the Dremel. I've started just trying to see how well it cuts that plastic, and it does a great job. We're going to take and see if we can notch it out, put our rocker switch in there. So let's go ahead and try and see how this finishes turning out. I got it marked with a dental pick. Okay. Finish it off with a razor blade, a sharp knife. We are adding a blinker switch
Inside your engine?
inside the dash. Careful there, bud. You're blocking the camera, I think. Oh, that is like perfect. Nice.
Can I see it?
Yeah, it's in.
We pull it out.
That's in, buddy.
Is that the white switch?
That's going to be the blinker switch. All in. Now I just need to wire it up. That is awesome. See how that looks on the dash itself. So that will be, I probably will just wire it. So left hand's to the left, right hand's to the right. And that is going to be it. The only thing I ran into was I caught a 1/4 inch of the speedometer mount. So I just quickly notched it and good to go. All right, we'll move on. So on our Honda Pioneer front rack, grill mods, and blinkers, my inspiration is my old Honda 4Trax. This thing is one of my favorite rides I've had. This is a 2-wheel drive model, which is what I like when I'm working cattle because it can turn on a dime. And you can herd cattle with these things pretty awesome. But what I like is it's got the old school square front. And that's basically what we're going for. We're going to try to mimic this. What we're thinking about doing, I'm going to do it in a second, is I'm going to notch in that sheet metal. But we're going to place right up tight and weld it to that roll bar.
Hold on just a minute. I think I have a flap.
Is these trailer light boxes. Pretty heavy. It's over an 1/8 inch thick. I'm going to weld up since they're just tack welded. We'll take the MIG welder and do a better solid job. So they have a side light, they have a front light, and I think that mimicking that angle to the left is going to look really sharp. So all I got to do is tack that angle in place, notch that sheet metal so this will go right up flush and weld right tight to that round pipe. I think we're going to have it pretty well mint. So what we've done to get this square is I've clamped a piece of box tubing to that angle. So when it's setting on that winch mount plate, it's actually sitting there flat. Alright, we're just trying to get this trued up. I got it sticking out 7 1/8 pass. Oh, that's perfect right there. Ground clamp back on. Boulder set for 3/16. I just gotta weld up the boxes now, buddy. What we have to do now is we just got to notch a little bit of that shielding. So when these light boxes weld on, I want it to weld well into that piping. So I need to take a little notch out. So we'll weld the box on that edge right to that pipe. So to do that, I got a cutoff wheel on there. And Roger, can you step over there in the shade? I'm gonna run the grinder for a couple minutes. All right? Thank you, bud. That was great. We'll clean up the spots for the welds. Almost. Same rough angle as the front of this thing has. I think that looks pretty sharp. Let's set you up in the center here, over here. Oh, square on the camera. Coil spring over 9 1/4, 8 1/4. Coil spring over. Oh, almost exactly 8 1/4. Good enough. So don't mind the welder in the background, but we have angle iron welded across, 2 light boxes welded on. Let's take a look. I'll step back. That's gonna look pretty snazzy down there. Eventually we're gonna add some uprights, do a better brush guard, but this is just the base. Just get some blinkers going for the road use. On the side, there'll be a flasher on the side, 6-inch flasher on the front, 2-inch on the side. That's gonna look pretty snazzy. And the best part is, it's pretty stout. So it's gonna act as a little bit of a shield for that radiator in there, which isn't that protected. So we gotta do a little bit more better work guarding that in the future, but we can move on with our light project now. I gotta mount 2 lights onto the back of this thing. So I gotta go look at that next. So, I just got done putting a coat of paint on it. Roger's inspecting my handiwork. It's not the prettiest job. You put a coat of primer on it. And Rust-Oleum flat back. Not bad. We're gonna have to touch up the back side of this a little bit. We got a piece of cardboard to protect the machine while it coated things. Painting the inside and outside the boxes, trying to get a little rust proofing in there. The angle iron's mounted. That's gonna look awesome. And what Roger and I just got set up, ready to tack on. There's nothing fancy for the moment, but we have a license plate hanging box right there. We're gonna tack the rear rack, cleaned up where the welds are gonna go. We're gonna do the same thing on this side without the license plate rack. So we'll have brake lights. So this is the rear light setup. We have a license plate light, welded up, brackets right to the bracket. It is on there, good shape. Passenger side, I can shake the whole buggy. And my best and favorite part is the new front bumper slash flasher lights. And my co-partner is already trying to use my bit to drill holes. Having fun? You having fun? This is the best part of everything right there.